What's up guys, Kempo back here, sitting in the car, ready to do another video. Got my coffee here, ready to go. Waking up nice and easy on this beautiful Friday morning. Finally got to finish the book. Well, I'm at the epilogue of the book, but essentially finished it. And it is Star Wars Darth Plagueis. I know the camera's on backwards, but Star Wars Darth Plagueis. This book has been recommended so many times by so many different YouTubers, Star Wars YouTubers, and people online saying it's one of the best Star Wars books ever, if not the best Star Wars book. The books I've read so far have been the Thrawn trilogy, and now this one. But I've watched all the canon comic books online and a lot of YouTube stuff sort of thing, really. So I do know my fair share of the lore, but couldn't call myself an expert. But if every Star Wars book was like this one, far out, I would go and read every single one of them. The only shame thing is now that everyone says that this book is the best one. And the others are great. I've heard they're great, but they aren't the same as this. And after reading this, oh my gosh, I loved it. I loved everything about it. At first, I was wondering how Plagueis was going to be, because I obviously watched The Acolyte and my thoughts on The Acolyte, and he has that split second when he's in the cave looking all creepy like, and everyone was outraged about that. Reading this and seeing what he's like as a character, how he really gets the name Darth Plagueis the Wise. Hugo Dasmask, as I'm pretty sure as he pronounced the name. He is such a fantastic character. Like, it's so hard. So where should I begin? I should begin with, I'll go from the start. So where he first introduced to Darth Plagueis, Hugo Dasmask, is the first chapters with his master Darth Tenebrous, and they're out on this planet, and Plagueis essentially betrays him, kills him, and becomes the new Sith Lord, like the master. And he's going out of his way to try to conquer the rule of two by Bane, and he wants to pretty much go out a different way. He wants to achieve immortality. Oh god, that's lazy, huh? He wants to achieve immortality for real, by not through technology and all other ways. He wants to do it through the Force itself. And he wants to be able to learn the secrets to manipulating the midichlorians to keep himself immortal, essentially, in this one body. Like, he doesn't want to transfer his body. So I'm just going to play with my eye a little bit. He doesn't want its essence transfer, because he doesn't see that as true immortality. He's still seeing that as a non-true way of being, because you're not yourself. Like, you are yourself, but you're in a different body. So essentially, he wants to achieve it by keeping his own body alive. And on the way, he finds Darth Sidious, like, because he sees Darth Tenebrous's list of potential apprentices to get rid of Plagueis with, and he doesn't. And then he finds Sidious on the way, and at the time it was Palpatine, and Palpatine shows his raw talent for politics and raw talent in the dark side of the Force. Eventually, Plagueis reveals himself, and during that time, Plagueis shows like his badass skill in fighting, and he kills a bunch of smugglers or crewmen, whatever they were, pirates. And he shows his way of manipulating conversations, shows that he's comes from a rich family, but he learnt in time to, like, he had no love for them, and he had an affinity for power. And I love the thing I think the book does the best is that it really, really goes really in depth with the philosophy of the Sith, more than just the words, the mantra of the dark side, more than just your mustache twirling evil guy. It really shows you why they think they should be on top, why they are superior to everyone else, and why they think themselves superior, why everyone else is just a plaything to them. There's so many good chapters and so many good areas where Palpatine and Higo are just conversing back and forth about the nature of the Force and the nature of the philosophy of the dark side, and why they need to execute this grand plan. And all this story is about how the Sith Lords are trying to execute the grand plan, the Sith's revenge. And through every chapter, it's like one brick laying down in the wall that is in the building that is the grand revenge, the grand step for the overtaking for the Sith, and how both Plagueis and Sidious executed for like 20, because the book spans for like 20 plus years, I think 30 years maybe, and goes into the first episode of Phantom Menace. The last couple chapters are like in the first episode there, and it shows you the events play out through their eyes, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's like almost like a Game of Thrones manipulating politics. Like, they create every situation, or if a situation arises, they use it to their advantage to gain themselves politically ahead. They manipulate people to betray other people. They see Dooku slowly lose faith in the Jedi, Sifo Dyas, how they create the clone army. And it's not just half-tracked as well. Like, they go so in depth how every conversation they have with these people, and they like get them to, it's like Inception, they get them to think of the ideas, but it's them planting the seeds. It's absolutely fantastic. The characterizations of like Star Sidious, for example, like, it shows how he really becomes the master, like how he becomes the grand Sith Lord in the way, like, at start he's learning from he needs Darth Plagueis to give him the teachings. He needs all the information from Plagueis. Plagueis knows so much from this point, and he learns so much more throughout the book, through his experiments. And it's so interesting at one point where Darth Sidious, it's like his internal thoughts, like, he's holding back from me and I need him. Like, do I need him longer? That it's absolutely fantastic. And there's certain scenes where they go slaughter people, like Plagueis gets an assassination attempt on him, and they go in and they absolutely massacre everybody. And that was like towards the end how Plagueis gets his revenge on a Naboo king, and how Queen Amidala comes into play. Like, there's so much to it, and I couldn't highly recommend this book enough. Like, there's nothing that's a 10 out of 10, but this book is as close as you can get to a 10 out of 10 if you're a Star Wars fan. I reckon, at least. If you're a Star Wars fan, especially if you like the original trilogy, the prequels, like, especially if you like the prequels. If you're just interested in the nature of the Sith, this book, just pick it up, have a read. It's awesome, honestly. It's worth your time. At first, it took me a little bit to get into, and to remember certain names from the movies. And then eventually, when I remembered the names of the movies, remembered certain areas, remembered certain lore, then everything clicked together, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing. That's my raw thoughts, honestly. That's just spewing out there. Can't highly recommend this book enough. There you go. So, thank you as always, guys. That's all I got to say, and I'll see you in the next one.